Good evening and welcome to the Monday, November 14th Muscatine School District Board of Education meeting. Madam Secretary, can you please take roll and help us determine the quorum, please?
Yes. Director Connard.
Here.
Cooney.
Here.
David.
Here.
LaRue.
Here.
Morgan.
Here.
Phillips. Here. And Shore.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you. Tonight, MHS Muskie Palm team will lead us into the pledge. Can you please stand? Thank you, MHS Muskie Palm team. Thank you. With that, moving forward with our agenda, the next item will be the welcome to our visitor and media representative, if any is here. Okay, moving forward, we move to the student council update with Caleb and Gabe, please.
I'll go ahead and kick us off. Just last week I sat down with Principal Carrie Hoganson at MHS just to get a feel for what's going on and being done on the administration side of things. News that vape detectors will be installed soon when the opportunity presents itself in the restrooms at MHS. This should help reduce certain use issues within schools. Later this month, I believe MHS will be hosting a homeland security test, which will involve testers coming into our buildings to search for weaknesses in school security that we might not be able to spot. This will help keep our schools safer. MHS Parent Open House is tomorrow night, I believe. This will inform parents about what things going on at MHS and provide them with a chance to ask questions if they so choose. A student survey was conducted today to determine the effectiveness and wants and needs of the student body in regards to SmartPass as well as Muscatine. So that's being conducted, analyzed. In other matters, MHS Winter Sports kicked off last Monday as well as this evening. Girls and boys basketball, girls and boys wrestling, bowling, and the greatest sport, in my opinion, Muskie boys swimming. We're all looking forward to their seasons ahead. New among our Muskie sports this year is girls wrestling, which now this year is a officially sanctioned Iowa high school sport. And more in sports, the Muskie girls swim team wrapped up their season just on Saturday with an appearance at the state meet this past weekend.
Yep, and with that, the Muscatine High School Student Council had a successful CanBall male volleyball tournament where we were able to raise some money while letting the boys have some fun there. And speaking of Student Council, the male beauty pageant, Mr. Muscatine, will happen next Tuesday, November 22nd during the morning hours to help raise money towards a charity, which we will choose very soon. And it's just a very fun way to get our senior boys out there and let them show off their talents to the community. With that, music students who have made it into the all-state music groups will be leaving later this week to perform. For those of you who don't know what all-state is, the students undergo a rigorous audition process where those who are picked get to perform with the best of the best students from all around the state of Iowa and a great big advanced group of Iowa music students. With that, the Muscatine FFA Meets judging team has achieved gold at nationals recently, and Muscatine High School has a student advocate group called Muskie Voices, and currently they're having great discussions on students on how to improve Muscatine High School, the facilities, and make it a great environment for all the students. And very soon, I will be leaving after this update to go join a show choir rehearsal, staying involved in the Muskie schools.
I have a quick question for Caleb. You mentioned about that Homeland Security. Do you know if that's the first time that we've actually had that happen, or what's on there?
First time.
And I
Karen, I can speak to that if you don't
Yeah,
mind,
right.
Caleb.
I just wanted to see how much you.
So it is part of the state has set that up for all districts. So we'll be going through that process, and then when it's finished, they'll get recommendations, and then we have access to $50,000 per building towards upgrades to anything that's identified in that audit. So that process is starting, and we'll be working through that here, so.
Any other question for Caleb and Gabe? Thank you. Great job. Thank you, as usual. Yeah. Moving forward with our agenda, we move into next item, Citizen Speaks. If anyone in the audience wants to address the board, please come forward to the podium, state your name and your address. You will have 3 minutes to do that. And remember, per Iowa code, we as a board cannot respond or engage in any discussion. Anyone would like to address the board?
All right. That clock's way too big there when it's there. But anyway. All right. Good evening. My name is Matt Miller. I plan on speaking tonight about conflicts of interest within our school district and how members of the board or within our staff can obtain financial growth through utilizing their influence in outside businesses. Then thought I would move into the Big Brother system that our schools have incorporated, which shows if you fit their agenda, they have a place for you. Or if you don't fit their agenda, they also have a place for you. But I won't even begin to talk about the costumes that are still going on or the raccoon tail hanging from the kids' pants today in the cafeteria. No, instead I want to talk about the administration and the fact that there are policies not in place of the administration, and they're boldly lying to some of the parents within this community. I was asked to sit in a meeting today that dealt with the safety of our students and staff. Unfortunately, it was very disturbing that our high school has no policy for our students in the wheelchairs, and that they have not only put these students at risk, but are also placing our staff at risk. On November 1st, the Muscatine Fire Department was alerted to a fire alarm at the Muscatine High School, at which time students evacuated the building. However, during this fire alarm, one student who was in a power chair was taken down the stairs properly in a stair chair, which I got to experience today. Unfortunately, another student was taken down the elevator, which I feel we all know and in common sense that no one should ever use an elevator during a fire. Which does leave another student and many other students who are not even power chairs, but have their own mental situations and can't be evacuated from the building. But the other one in a power chair was kind of left in the room to wait and to see what other evacuation would happen. As I've explained, these are 3 different outcomes within the same school that potentially placed 2 students at risk and potentially placed our first responders at risk due to no or poor policy deployment by our Muscatine High School. It's obvious that 3 minutes isn't near enough time to talk about the issue and safety of our students tonight, but it's imperative our high school administration is held accountable for the risk to our students, and no matter how much clout one student or other parents may have, each student should have the same respect, same safety provided as any student with a disability or without. Not only did the AP lie to me today and parents of this community and people that were in this meeting, but in item 506.11, it does state that each attendance center will maintain a written plan when it comes to the emergency and disaster procedures. It also states in that same 506.11, it does not exist and that students will be required to participate in these drills. So if we are leaving students behind and sitting in a classroom and not utilizing these chairs, and there's a true emergency, what are we doing with those students while they sit there? And what are we doing with the staff telling them to sit behind? God bless you all and this community.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Anybody else in the audience would like to address the board? Okay, thank you. Moving forward with our agenda, our next item is the special recognition. And under that, we have 2 items. Item A, para-teacher apprentices, And item B, student apprentices. And at this point, I would like to call on our HR, Jamie Kruger, please.
Well, tonight we are going to recognize 2 of our 4 para-teacher apprentices who are taking part in the state grant. And I just wanted to recognize them for 2 reasons. It's National Apprenticeship Week, and 2, the 4 of them are working extremely hard to meet 2 different thresholds. For one track, it's to get the associate's degree to be a certified para, and for the other track, it's to be a certified teacher. So this is the truest form of our Grow Your Own program that we can have, and I'm very proud of the 4 that are in our program. They're working extremely hard in their para jobs, but also in their schoolwork and meeting those requirements. So I wanted to introduce the 2 that were able to join us tonight, and briefly they're going to tell you what they're currently doing, what the program means to them, and what they hope to see at the end of it.
Hi, my name is Callie McGill. I'm a para-educator at the Early Learning Center, so my days are never boring. My speech is on my phone, so excuse me for a minute. What this grant means to me is that hard work pays off at the end of the day. Like, you see it on the cheesy posters in the classroom, but living proof that it pays off. When you put your heart into something, it can go miles. It really can. And it's a great honor to be able to watch kids grow and get past those obstacles that they may be struggling with on a daily basis. I've been putting in late nights into homework and papers and discussions, and seeing those kids light up and smile and get past those hard days really makes it pay off. And I'll take any questions.
How long do you have? Are you in, which track are you in, I guess I should ask.
I'm in the para track, the first track. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Wise, and I am a SPED para at McKinley Elementary. And to me, this grant is really important because I've always had a passion for working with kids. And I started about 2 years ago with the district, and I've been in the same room for the most part, but I keep getting moved around. So I get to see a lot of kids throughout my day, from autistic kids to just regular general education kids. And to me, I like interacting with them every day. I really think that they grow a relationship with certain people, and I just like to see them happy.
Any question for Caitlin? Okay, thank you, Caitlin.
And really, what this grant is providing is the opportunity to work while they're still getting their courses done. It also takes the place of some student teaching if you're in the second track towards being a teacher. And it really puts that emphasis on the work in the classroom and learning on the job. So we're really fortunate that we were granted a chunk of this pie and that we can put it to use with these 4 outstanding paras that we've got. And then a part of this is we're also going to recognize our student apprentices, which we have an amazing showing tonight. So I'm going to bring up Brandon Welsh, and he is going to introduce our students.
Just like the adults, we have some student apprentices and internships, and Jamie asked that we represent or have them come and represent tonight. I would say we have about half of them, and at one point I wasn't sure how many we'd have. So I really appreciate you guys coming. Actually, some of the students that are currently interning are at their current place of employment right now, so they weren't able to make it. But we have a kind of a couple different groups here. I'd say we have roughly half of this year's group. We started this on a bigger scale last year, and still looking to add some students that maybe will start a semester as well too. I would put these students in a couple different categories. We have a couple at the end here, Dario and Drake, who are part of, are doing basically the same thing, but they're part of the Registered Apprentice Program with the state of Iowa. We have a partnership with a few places of business right now. They are with Musco Lighting and the welding program, and the other group of students are interning. So all of these students here are getting elective credit for their work, and they're also getting a lot of experience on the job at the actual facility in a career of their choice. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves, talk about also what their career interest is and what they're currently doing. Before I forget, we do have some great partnerships, and as I mentioned, not everyone is here, so you may hear some duplicates here, and also this doesn't include some of the places we worked with last year, but I did want to go over the list of those that are currently supporting our students. Todd Hackett Construction, Hoffman, the Muscatine Community School District, Musco Lighting, Toyota Muscatine, Stanley Consultants, Carver Pump, Tantera, Ken Morrison Construction, Crossroads of Muscatine, Happy Joe's, Musser Public Library, Joanne Fabric, the Muscatine Community YMCA, and Come and Go. So I'll let the students take over. You need a reminder? Name? Okay, gotcha.
So, hi, my name's Ethan Mattis. I'm planning on going into agricultural engineering next year, and I'm currently employed at Stanley, and I get to design substations.
Hello, my name is David Valenzuela. I want to go into rig welding when I'm older. During the summer, I worked at Ken Morrison's Construction, and yeah.
Hi, my name is Gabe Sanchez. My future endeavor would probably be in aerospace engineering. I'm currently employed at Carver Pump, where I design commercial pumps.
Hi, my name is Elias Menjivar. I'm also working at Carver Pump, and right now I do a range of things, from anything that just help the mechanical engineers out.
Hi, my name is Riley McFarland, and I want to be an elementary school teacher when I'm older. And right now I am currently volunteering and helping teach at Madison Elementary School.
Hi, my name is Sebastian Calderon. I am pursuing carpentry, and over the summer I was working for Todd Hackett Construction, but currently, because of construction's early mornings, I am doing delivery for Guadalajara.
Hi, I'm Dario Villegas. I currently work at Musco Lighting as a welder, and in the future, I'm looking forward to pursuing being a maintenance welder.
Hello, my name is Drake Gray. Right now, I am working at Musco Lighting, and hopefully in the future, I want to pursue some sort of welding. Some sort, not really sure yet, but I'm also employed at Salvatali's, so if you guys do want to come and get a pizza, you guys tell Sam that Drake Gray sent you. Maybe he'll give me a bonus or something. God knows I need it. Thank you.
Anybody have any question?
I do have, and you might have said this somewhere in there. Now, are these structured around their needs and then you go out and find the place? Or is it because I know you started out with just only a couple different places that they could go to, and I see you've got a whole list here now. So
Yeah, we've really built in the last couple of years. We've worked to identify their career interest, and then we just reach out to the community and try to match those up. And really, the word of mouth has spread to the point where I'm getting calls quite a bit from local businesses asking, "Do you have a kid? Do you have a student that'd be interested in this?" So, yeah, the word's spreading for sure.
What's your typical day look like? Do they have academic classes and then they go out into the workforce?
Yeah, so the one thing with all of these students you see here and anyone that wants to be involved in our program, the primary goal is graduation. So they've done everything they need and have some room on their schedule to be able to do that. So we kind of build it in that communication between the workplace and their schedule. Both places are usually pretty accommodating. Most of these students will go to school, I'd say for the most part, probably half the day, and then the other half they're starting work. Some of them will go beyond the school hours. Some of them will work weekends too. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you to all of you students. I mean, really great great things are happening at the high school, so thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, moving forward with our agenda, we move into action, possible action. The following items are considered to be routine by the Board of Education and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a director so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence from the agenda. Item 1 is the minutes, and item 2, bills and claims. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the third reading on policies. 702.8 bond disclosure in U. 702.8E1 bond disclosure exhibit 1 in U. 702.8E2 bond disclosure exhibit 2 in U item. 106 assistant animals in U item. 504.5 public performance by students. 504.6 contest for students delete. 506.6 requirements for graduation. Do we have a motion to accept?
I'll make the motion to accept the third reading of the policies.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion about any of those policies? Okay, all those in favor in approving the third reading on the policies, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Nay. Okay, motion carried. That will take us to our last item on our agenda for this portion of the meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn of the retiring board?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
A second.
So we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, motion carried. And now we move into our secretary or the board secretary, Daphne, to take it from there, please.
Good evening. We're now moving into our organizational annual meeting, so I'd like to call that meeting to order. And the first item is the election of board president. So I'm going to go through that. I will ask for nominations for the board president. A second is not required. If there is only one nomination, we'll need a motion and a second to cast an unanimous vote for board president. If there are more nominations, a motion is needed that nominations cease with the second and ballots are cast. I will administrate the oath of office to the board president and then turn the meeting over to the president for election of the vice president. The process for electing the vice president is the same. The president or myself will administer the oath of office to the vice president at that time. I will now entertain a motion for nominations for board president.
I would like to nominate John DeBeat for president, please.
Are there any other nominations for board president? Okay. So hearing none, we need to have a motion and a second for the nominations to cease and for John DeBeat to be elected board president.
I make a motion that nominations cease.
Second.
Matt, I'm sorry, was that you second?
No, it was me here.
Denny.
All those in favor of accepting John as the board president and the nomination ceasing, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Congratulations, John. You're elected board president.
Thank you. Thank you all.
I'll let you take over.
Uh,
Oh, the oath of office, yes. Sorry. John, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of the board, as board president discharge the duties of office of the board member in the Muscatine Community District as now and hereafter required by law?
Yes, I do.
Thanks, John. Congratulations.
Thank you, and as always, I look forward to work with every board member and work as a team, because again, working as a team is taking our district, school district, forward and in the right direction. With that, if I may ask you again to run through the process for the vice president, please.
Process is the same. I'll ask for nominations for board vice president. A second is not required. If there's only one nomination, we'll need a motion and a second to cast a unanimous vote for the vice president. If there are more nominations, a motion is needed. That nominations cease with a second and ballots are cast. I will administer the oath of office to the board vice president and turn the meeting back over to the president. The process for electing vice president is the same, and I will administer the oath of office to the vice president. So I will entertain nominations for the vice president.
I'll nominate Mike Morgan.
Any other nominations? Okay. Then we just need a motion to cease nominations and elect Mike Morgan as vice president. A motion and a second.
Motion to cease nominations?
Yes.
Make a motion to cease the
Did I
nominations.
say that wrong?
No.
I'm a little nervous.
I will second Matt's motion.
Okay. All those in favor of Mike as vice president, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations, Mike. You'll stand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of vice president in the Muscatine Community School District as now and hereafter required by law?
I do.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mike. Thank you. Thank you. Moving forward with the annual meeting, the next item will be transact the following annual business prescribed by law. This can be done in one motion or each item separately. So I will go through the list, and if the wishes of the board to have one motion, we can do that. If not, we can go one item at a time. Item A, appoint Daphne J. Donald as board secretary. Item B, appoint Tom Anderson as board treasurer. Item C, designate Midwest One Bank, CBI Bank and Trust, Community Bank and Trust, and Iowa School Joint Investment Trust as official depositors of district funds in the amount of $25 million each. Item D, appoint Kendall Law Office, Eller Law Office, and Lynch Dallas PC as counsels to represent the school district in legal matters on time basis. Item E, designate the Muscatine Journal as the publication of record. And item F, appoint district compliance officer. So as I mentioned before, if the wishes of the board to vote on all of them together in one motion, we can do that. If you would like to have a motion for each item, also we can do that. So it's the wishes of the board.
I'll make the motion to approve A through F.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any discussion?
Are any of these different, significantly different than past years? I don't recognize anything that is any different than in the past years.
Good question, Mike. It's the same. Those are always.
That's who we've used in the past, and the amounts are about the same.
Every year. Excellent question. Thank you, Mike. Yes, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving item A through F under annual meeting, please signify by saying aye.
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 Oppose? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. We move into next item, organization of the board, and the first item is the board meeting schedule for December 2022 through November 2023. This is just an information item. It's not basically an action item, but anybody have any question? Did you have a chance to look at it? Any question?
So at a later time, will they assign who's doing the bill, looking at the bills for that particular month? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Danny. Any other question?
Will there be work sessions that are added into this as well? Or just looking at it, it looked like to me there was 2 work sessions?
Yeah, and that's typically what we have. There have been years that we've added more just because of, as things happen, especially around COVID, we added more.
Right.
So we can always do that. We can add additional meetings. But
Would it make sense to have on here when the times that we are participating anyway, that we're having the community conversation?
we can certainly add
Because
those
I know there was some question as in, that we had stopped it for the summer and not everybody necessarily knew that, so if that's how we will trend to do or what.
Good point, Karen. Thank you. Okay, moving forward, if there's no more questions about the meeting schedule, we move to item B. First item under item B, which is the board assignments, is to appoint the county conference board. So at this point, we need a nomination. I would like to say that board member Denny, if I'm not mistaken, is the one who represents us at the county conference board. We open that for nomination.
More than welcome to have anybody else take it over if they want.
I think you did an awesome job.
So we need to have a motion.
I would make a motion that Denny Scher is the county conference board representative.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Those of you are in favor of appointing Denny to the county conference board, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Congratulations, Denny.
Thanks.
We know you represent us very well. Thank you. The next item is the appointment to the Ag Learning Center Board. And same thing, I mean, the reason why I'm saying this is just to state to everybody who is representing us now, and then again up to the board to continue with the same person, or if we have a different person. I know that Karen Cooney is the one who is currently representing us. With that, I would like to take a nomination, please, for this spot.
A nomination for Karen Cooney to continue to represent us at the Ag Learning Center Board.
Thank you, Matt.
Second.
And thank you, Ken. Any discussion?
Well, yeah, Clint, do you know if they can change that meeting time until sometime like after, I don't know, 8 o'clock or a.m.? Because it seems pretty early in the morning when we
The
go.
problem with the Ag Center is you have a number of teachers on there, and unfortunately with their schedules, they need to be there before.
Sure, and I did not know that when I said yes originally. Yeah. So, in all fairness, no, it's been a fun and interesting time learning more and more about the Ag Center and the Writing for Success and such, so I'm fine.
Karen, make sure you carry your coffee with you. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of appointing Karen Cooney for the Ag Learning Center Board, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, congratulations, Karen. Thank you. And the third item under the board assignments is the appointment to the Audit Committee. In the past year, or currently, is Mike Morgan, sits on this. The same thing, I would like to entertain a motion. Anybody would like to do this? So we need a motion and a second, please.
I move to appoint Mike Morgan to the Audit Committee again.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of appointing Mike Morgan to the Audit Committee, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, Mike, congratulations.
Thanks.
I'm sure that each one of you will represent us very well. So thank you, first of all, for your time that you will put in representing us, and thank you for your willingness to do that. So moving forward, we move into the possible action.
John, just a quick update to the agenda to make you aware of. As we get to item E, wherever it says Series 2023, it should read Series 2022B. So you'll see that in the title of E and also in item 2 there. So we just need to adjust that to, instead of 2023, 2022B.
Thank you, Clint. Thank you. Possible action. The following items are considered to be routine by the Board of Education and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a director so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence from the agenda. The items are 1. Employment recommendations. 2. Special education contracts. 3. District committees. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion?
Second.
Second. We have a motion and second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, motion carried. Now we move into item E, and as our superintendent, Clint Christopher, suggested that the number here should be 2022B instead of 2023. So approximately $10 million school infrastructure sales, services, and use tax revenue bonds, Series 2022B. Number 1, consideration of financing proposals opened and reviewed by the superintendent of schools and secretary of the board of directors and the placement agent. Number 2, approve the resolution directing the sales approximately $10 million infrastructure sales, services, and use tax revenue bonds, Series 2022B. Are we going to have presentation first and then? Okay.
So Matt Gillespie is back again from Piper Sandler, here to talk us through, just like we did last month with the Series 2022 bonds as well. So Matt, we'll turn it over to you.
All right. Good evening. You can hear me, is that correct?
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen here, which I think you may have physical copies of this, and Tom copied these for you, but you can also look up here on the screen. These worksheets are going to be very similar to what we went over a month ago. for the $15 million issue. We had some very good luck today. You can see on this page, at the top of the page, you can see it clearly. The lowest bid was received from JP Morgan Chase Bank, and they offered an interest rate of 3.46%. They did offer 3 different options, and I think all the board members have been made aware of these options earlier today, just so they knew what they'd be considering this evening. The other 2 options from JP Morgan Chase were higher interest rates, but would have allowed you to call the bonds. I know there is maybe some question or misunderstanding as to why we thought that the $15 million issuance a month ago, it would be better to make sure that those bonds were callable. And today we're suggesting that it's better to allow these bonds to not be callable. And the difference really are mostly twofold. One, the interest rate is so much lower on this one than what you had a month ago, which is a very positive thing. But also, what we really wanted to make sure is that just some of the bonds, regardless of which issue, but some of the bonds have some sort of call flexibility. You likely will not need to use that, but we want the district to have that flexibility just in case something happens over the next 2 or 3 or 6 or 7 years where the district might choose to borrow more money in sales tax that's not even expected to happen today. And if that were to happen, it's possible that if all of these different bonds were not callable, just because you could take the lowest interest rate, for example, that you wouldn't have any flexibility to make adjustments if there became some sort of emergency or even just the desire of some future board to take some additional action. So we wanted that last series to have some callability, and really you were only giving up, so to speak, roughly $80,000 in interest costs to get that. And of course that $80,000 from the last series may not actually even be realized as a difference if you ever do need to pay the bonds off early or call them. So today, the lowest option you can see on this page was that from JP Morgan Chase Bank. If you look at the interest rates for the 3 JP Morgan proposals, they don't match the rates at the top. That's because they originally gave us rates early this morning, and then later this afternoon, after you all had been contacted about this, they actually sent us a revision, which sort of unusually had the interest rates declining rather than rising. So the original rate for that non-callable proposal was 3.63%. But as it turns out, that rate is going to be 3.46%. And then you can see there were proposals from some other banks. Truist, that's actually who bought the $15 million. Their proposal today was 3.93, and that was a not bank qualified interest rate. Excuse me, I apologize. That was a bank qualified interest rate because we originally had these bidders bidding for the bonds to not close until first week in January. That was to keep this second series of bonds what we call bank qualified, and that needs to be in a different calendar year than the 15 million. But as it turns out, again, because these rates were so low from JP Morgan Chase, they needed, in order to accept these rates, for the transaction to close prior to December 29th. And it's going to close December 28th, as long as the board approves this here in a few minutes. But that means that this bond issuance today is not bank qualified. So we would have expected higher interest rates, but in fact, JP Morgan came back and lowered their rates. But that is a reason why we see the other banks here, Truist, KeyBank, Signature Public Finance, and Bank United, they did have significantly higher rate because they were proposing for a January closing, and for the even though their interest rates were bank qualified rates. So it was somewhat of a flip-flop of what we would have expected to happen, but that was a good surprise. I'm going to go through all these worksheets and then I'll come back and see if the board members have any questions. On this second page, this is what the new bond will look like. So $10 million is the principal amount. Same structure as the prior series, meaning that there are annual principal payments. They extend out to 2030. Remember that because you have not yet had the revenue purpose statement election, which you will need to do sometime in the next few years. But because you haven't yet had that, you can only have principal payments going out through the end of 2030. Eventually, when you do pass that revenue purpose statement election, you'd be able to borrow all the way out through 2051, if and when that ever becomes necessary. We are referring to this issue today as the Series 2022B. It was originally anticipated that it would be the Series 2023, but now that it's going to close prior to January 1, we just take the 2022 from the year, and this is the second issuance this calendar year, so that would make it Series B. The next page just shows the sources and uses. So you're issuing $10 million of principal, and you will net $9,908,000 to spend on the projects, in addition to the $15 million proceeds, and possibly the issuance of another sales tax bond sometime in the next 12 to 18 months. It doesn't look like that's truly going to be necessary, but the board may choose to do that, or it may become necessary if other parameters change. And we'll talk more about that probably mid next summer to next fall to determine if it looks like that's going to be necessary at all. Again, the next page, this is just a clean version of the amortization schedule or repayment schedule. So it matches that which was on page 2, but page 2 had some other information on it as well. I did throw in this page, the 5th page in this packet. It says page 2 in the top right corner, but it's the 5th page of the packet that's up on the screen. This is the $15 million of bonds. So this is what you've already completed, but I just wanted to throw this in to remind you the interest rate on that issuance, 3.89, and then today that rate significantly lower than that. So that's a very positive, unexpected result. And then here at the last page is just the timeline of both of the issuances, the older one and today. Of course, today we assume you will award it here in a few minutes. And then on the 12th of December, you will go through the issuance resolutions, which will be identical to what you just did when you did the same thing at your last meeting in October for the Series 22 bonds. And then the bonds would close then on December 28th. Nobody from the district needs to be present at that time. So if everybody's out on holiday vacation, that's just fine. I did confirm earlier with Tom that we would just need him or somebody who can access the bank account online just to be able to confirm the wire was made. So it doesn't really take any significant work from the district on the 28th. So that was pretty quick to go through that, but I do want to give the board certainly enough time to ask questions as you may. Once your questions are answered, we're going to do just what we did last time, where I will lead you through the resolution. But before we get there, I want to see if there are any questions from school board members or citizens that might be present.
No, but Matt, just thanks again for doing a great job of walking us through this. You did a great job last time and a great job this time. Appreciate it. Very
I
clear.
appreciate that. Thank you. As always is the case, if you guys do have questions, I know today it's a big transaction. You guys don't do this all the time, so it's nothing you're fluent with. But if you ever have questions, whether that's tomorrow morning, you wake up and you just don't know what you did, or whether it's 6 months from now, you want to get some more information about it, you're always welcome to call, send me an email, or what have you. And of course, you can always ask Tom as well. He's fairly fluent with this stuff too. So with that said, it sounds like there are no other questions. I'm going to paraphrase the resolution before you, which is acceptable for me to do. One board member simply needs to so move what I say. Another board member needs to second that. And then you do have to have a roll call vote. So the resolution before you is directing the sale of $10 million of school infrastructure sales services and use tax revenue bonds, Series 2022B, to J.P. Morgan Chase Bank of Chicago, Illinois.
So moved?
Second.
Do a roll call vote. Director Connard,
Yay.
Director Cooney,
A.
Director DeBeat,
Aye.
Director LaRue,
Aye.
Director Morgan,
Aye.
Director Phillips,
Aye.
and Director Shore.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, that is the only formal action you needed to take tonight. You will have some more documents and work to do at your next meeting, as I just mentioned. Again, questions, let me know anytime. Certainly Tom and Clint, if you guys have questions in the next day or two, as you see some more emails come around, forward those questions to me. If any of you are coming to the school board convention this week here in Des Moines, make sure to stop by our booth. I will be hanging out there Wednesday afternoon and most of all day Thursday, so stop by and see us there too. Thank you very much, and congratulations on another successful issuance of sales tax bonds. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, moving forward with our agenda, we move into next item to approve early retirement incentive for fiscal year 23. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make the motion to approve the early retirement incentive.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion?
I'll just, quick add a few pieces in here from our discussion the last time. Certainly the concern is, are we able to replace, staff members that are leaving? So as we, made that recommendation to look at 25 years of service in addition to being 55, really when you look at our certified teaching staff, would impact a total of 21 teachers if everyone took it, which again, we won't know that. And within that 21, 14 of them are regular classroom positions or special education. In talking with Jamie Krager with HR, we feel really confident, especially because, as you see, they'll have to notify us by January 6th. That gives us the most runway possible to get those positions posted and filled as soon as possible.
Do we anticipate offering this to the non-certified staff also?
Yeah, so that's included in this proposal. It states in there both for certified teachers and then for any staff member.
All right.
And that's what we've typically done in the past as well.
Do you know what the number of non-certified positions?
I don't. And a lot of those are, will change frequently, just the nature of some of our para and non-certified positions.
If I've got this correctly, this of course doesn't address anything that would have to do with their medical area insurance here. Do we cover on anything with that part?
Tom is approaching the microphone.
The district does not pay for any health insurance premiums after a staff member takes early retirement, but they are offered to stay on the health insurance plan. On our group plan, it's a requirement by Iowa code as long as they pay the full cost of the premium. Obviously, they can use the early retirement incentive that they do get from the district to, go towards their health insurance premium. So.
But it would not be like a partial from us at all anymore
No.
on it. They would be paying all of it then from there.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, thank you. So let's move. We have a motion, we have a second. So all those in favor of approving the early retirement incentive for FY23, please signify by saying aye.
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 Oppose? Nay. Thank you. Moving forward to item G, approve to submit a request to the School Budget Review Committee for a modified supplemental amount of $358,459 for open enrolled out students who were not included in the district's previous year's certified enrollment count. So
I will address that for the board, and actually I'm going to do G, H, and I, and then you can act on each one of those separately after I go through these. So of course, we're talking about spending authority here. All these are general fund spending authority, and 2 of them are for FY23, the current year, and 1 of them is for last year, FY22. So item G is for open enrollment out for this year. So we had certified enrollment on October 1st. There were, I believe, 49 students that were on, so 49 resident students of Muscatine, 49.6, that were not on our certified enrollment last year. We do have to pay those school districts for those 49.6, along with other resident students going somewhere else. So we need to have the spending authority along with that. So that's what item G will do, okay? And that's for the current fiscal year. So item H then is related to English language learners. So included in our funding formula is our students that are in years 1 through 5 of the ELL program or EL program. So what happens then on certified enrollment date, they look at the students that are in years 5 and above, 5 and beyond. I don't know, it goes to 9 maybe, 9 years. So we don't get funding for those students. And so now we're asking for that spending authority for those students. Okay? That's what item H is. And so we had 64 students that were considered intermediate, and we get an additional 0.21, and then 6 students that are considered intensive, and that's 0.26. So that will be for $111,195 for FY, and that'll add that spending authority in FY23. So now, letter I, this is going back to last year, FY22, and it is also related to LEP. So what happens is we are asking for that spending authority for those students that we weren't funded for in the funding formula, as well as the additional request we asked for last year at this time. And that amount is $441,688. So, any questions on those 3 items?
And Tom, how do you get half a student?
Sure. Well, I can tell you that. So as far as the open enrollment goes, there are students that are open enrolled out to another homeschool assistance program in another district. And so that would be, we get 0.3, so there might be 2 students going to another, and it might be, I don't know why, but there are a couple students going to another homeschool assistance program. Would there be for, besides that, there could be dual enrolled students possibly too. I mean, there is ways to get additional if they're dual enrolled. So
Appreciate that.
yeah, no problem.
So Tom, on G, do we have any revenue that's coming into us from students?
We do. And so that, for us, that's considered miscellaneous income, so we'd really never have to do this for open enrolled in students. So, we do bill other districts for, non-resident students attending our district, and I don't recall off the top of my head how many that is. Anybody remember? It's less than what's going out, that's for sure, so.
But we do get some money back from
we
other
do.
districts.
Yeah. And actually, I might be able to show you on the financial report when we get to that. So we do need to have 3 separate items as action, and because we do have to upload these minutes to prove to the Department of Ed that you guys have approved this.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks. So going back to item G, and after Tom's explanation, do we have a motion to approve item G?
I make a motion to approve to submit a request to the SBRC for a modified supplemental amount of $358,459 for open enrolled out students who were not included in the district's previous year's certified enrollment count.
Second.
Okay, we have motion and we have second. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving to submit a request to the School Budget Review Committee for a modified supplemental amount of $358,459 for open enrolled out students who were not included in the district's previous year's certified enrollment count. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, thank you. Motion carried. So we move to item H, approve the request to the School Budget Review Committee for a modified supplemental amount of $111,195 related to the English Language Learning Program for students who have exceeded 5 years of waiting that are included on the fall 2022 certified enrollment headcounts. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make the motion to approve the request for the SBRC for modified supplemental amount of $111,195 related to the English Language Learning Program for students who have exceeded 5 years of waiting that are included on the fall 2022 certified enrollment headcount.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving, we're going to read it again just to make sure for documentation purposes, approving the request to the School Budget Review Committee for a modified supplemental amount of $111,195 related to the English Language Learning Program for students who have exceeded 5 years of waiting that are included on the fall 2022 certified enrollment headcounts. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Nay? Okay. Motion carried. Moving forward to item I, to approve MSA request for Access LEP course for serving English language learners in a limited English instructional program during the 2021-2022 school years. The district's administration is authorized to seek modified supplemental amount from the School Budget Review Committee in the amount of $441,688 to provide 100% spending authority for the school year 2021-22 actual course of LEP program instruction. What are the wishes of the board?
Make a motion to approve item I, approve MSA request for excess LEP cost for serving English language learners in a limited English instructional program during the 2021-2022 school year. The district's administration is authorized to take modified supplemental amounts to the School Budget Review Committee in the amount of $441,688 to provide 100% spending authority for the school year 2021-2022 actual cost of the LEP program instruction.
Second.
So we have a motion and we have a second. Any more discussion? Okay. All those in favor of approving the MSA request for Access LEP course for serving English language learners in a limited English instructional program during the 2021-2022 school year. The district's administration is authorized to seek modified supplemental amounts from the School Budget Review Committee in the amount of $441,688 to provide 100% spending authority for the school year 2021-2022 actual course of LEP program instruction. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving forward to item J, to approve the purchase of a one F350 truck from Ed Morris in the amount of $55,781. What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make the motion to approve the purchase of one F-350 truck from Ed Morse and the amount of $55,781.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion?
Ryan, what do you think? Do you have anything to say?
No, so
He's
so
ready.
you guys know, this is a twofold purchase. This is replacing the 1999 Dodge Ram that pulls our 16,000-pound van trailer right now, and is also going to be served as plow salt truck in the winter. So dual purpose purchase that we haven't done in 23 years. So
Service purpose.
Thank you, Ryan, for the explanation. So any other question for Ryan? Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor of approving the purchase of one F-350 truck from Ed Morris in the amount of $55,781, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Nay? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. So, item K, to approve the amended agreement between the Friends of Muscatine Facilities and the Community Foundation of Greater Muscatine to establish a designated fund to be known as the Friends of Muscatine Facilities Improvement Fund and designate the role of Finance or Activities Director as the fund representative. What are the wishes of the board?
Before we make a motion, I do want to say at the very last paragraph on the last page specifies Muscatine High School. Everything else in the document is about Muscatine Community School District. We did talk to the Community Foundation about this, and so what I would recommend the motion would be to approve the agreement with the amendment of replacing Muscatine High School with Muscatine Community School District. That way, it can be used for any project in the district, not just for the high school. So,
I will make that motion with the amendment. Do you want me to? That's how it is. Okay. All right. I will make the motion to approve the agreement between the Friends of Muscatine Facilities and the Community Foundation of Greater Muscatine to establish a designated fund to be known as the Friends of Muscatine Facilities Improvement Fund and designate the role of Finance or Activities Director as the fund representative, with the noted change of in Schedule B granting guidelines. We will change the purpose of the fund to provide the students and faculty of Muscatine Community School District. And then as it continues to read.
Second.
So we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion? Okay, so all those in favor of approving the amended agreement between the Friends of Muscatine Facilities and the Community Foundation of Greater Muscatine to establish a designated fund to be known as the Friends of Muscatine Facilities Improvement Fund and designate the role of Finance or Activities Director as the fund representative. Noted also the amendment to this motion. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Nay? Okay, so motion carried. Thank you. With that, moving forward, we move into the discussion and information part of our agenda. And the first item is the September finances. And back to you, Tom.
Okay. So tonight, we're showing you here the September financials. Obviously, we had a few items for action here tonight, and the next finance-related action item would be like on January 9th, we're going to talk about FY24, actually, that school budget review committee request there for at-risk dropout prevention. So tonight there on the next page would be our deposit balances shown as September 30th compared to last month. And I would point out that that we did change the deposit resolution from probably 15 million to 25, simply because of the revenue bonds that we're selling, and they may or may not all go to the same financial institution. And so I just wanted to make that threshold high enough so that we didn't have to come back and do this again. And that financial institution is not showing up on here yet because we didn't close until November, but the Iowa Schools Joint Investment Trust is is a entity the district hasn't used for a while, at least since I've been here, but it is kind of, as the name sounds, the Iowa Schools Joint Investment Trust is just another option for Iowa schools to use to invest, and that's when I did request investment rates for the bond proceeds. ISJIT had the best interest rate for the school district, so that's where those funds got deposited. And so that'll show up, like I said, when we show our November balance sheet. And then at the bottom there, you can see by fund what our cash balances are by fund. So on the next page, I did kind of change up that fund financial summary, and instead of showing you the total year-to-date revenues and expenses, I just kind of broke out those revenues by category, like overall category. There's property tax, there's other local category, and then there's state sources and federal sources for a total revenue. And then as far as expenditures go, they're by those functional categories that you will see eventually on our budget to actual. I don't have that prepared yet, but we're only 3 months here into September's only like 3 months into the fiscal year. But so this is our fund financial, and then I did put the following, or last year's on a separate page. Otherwise I would have scrunched all those fund numbers together on one. It wouldn't have been fun to look at. So I did put them on 2 separate pages, but you do have a comparison of last year. The next page then is kind of an overall, it looks pretty much the same. It's our general fund revenues by kind of breaking down more by categories for local, state, and federal sources. And so I'd just point out there on the tuition, on the top part is the tuition. Our budget is around $315,000 that we do receive in tuition, although it isn't 100% finalized for this year for various reasons, but that's roughly what it was last year. So, or I guess it wasn't last year, but it was this year is the estimate. So that's our general fund revenues. Obviously, federal sources by now we don't have yet because we have to expend that money and then get reimbursed. We can't start that process until November 1st, so we're not going to see a lot of our revenue for the first quarter from federal sources come in here until December. And then I just kind of gave you more, on the last page is our general fund expenditures. I kind of just made it an overall look instead of getting down into some details that maybe takes too much time or too many numbers to look at, but I certainly can bring back the detail if we need to. You know, our budget right now is roughly 59.9 million. That might just change because we don't, all those, the ESSER dollars that we're going to be spending, the timing of those obviously affects the budget. And then just pointing out that, you know, as most school districts, 80% of our budget is salary and benefits. And so that's kind of another thing that I would point out. But other than that, that's September financials. So thank you very much.
Expenses so far, one of those is like 13% compared to 9% of last year. You're okay with where we're at on all that?
Yeah, I am. I can
You're
certainly.
okay, Tom, we're
all right,
okay.
We're good. I have no red flags yet, so I'll let you know. Thank you. And thank you. The audit committee is not that bad. It only meets once a year, pretty much.
I know that. You don't have to tell them that. I know that.
I mean, that would have been a real easy one. But
You weren't trying to get off it.
we meet at noon, and you get a lunch served to you.
I was just accepting. I wasn't going to pass that along. You notice that. It's a free lunch, man. Come on.
Thank you, Tom, for the report. Okay, moving forward, the announcement and the upcoming meetings and events. November 16, through 18, 2022, the Iowa School Board Convention in Des Moines, Iowa. November 23rd to 25th, 2022, the Thanksgiving holiday, no school. December 12th, 2022, School Board Community Conversation at 6 p.m. at the lower level of City Hall. December 12th, 2022, our regular board meeting at 7 p.m. here at the City Hall. Any other announcement from any of you board members or Clint? Okay, thank you. So at this point, I would like to have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried.